Hi, I'm Katiecowan, and I am an artist currently living in Milwaukee, teach at MIAD, and this is my studio. So it's interesting because I grew up really close to here. I grew up only like 40 minutes away from here, so it wasn't a strange change geographically, but the work definitely changed, and I guess it would be more like in LA I had a lot of different environmental circumstances, meaning like the sun was a constant element.
Yeah.
You are kind of, well, I guess that's kind of similar. You're kind of like stuck geographically in LA because of things like traffic. Like actually happens, like you get stuck at home or you get stuck at the studio, or you can only be at the studio for a certain amount of time because like traffic's gonna happen really soon and you better get home, you know. So it's like the time frame there was a lot different, so it was either like these small amounts of time frames or there was these strange like constant environmental things, like the sun was happening every day, it never rained, so I could do certain parts of my practice there more consistently. Like I've been doing these sun prints for a while, which are like a photo process, but it's basically a way of painting with like the sun.
Yeah.
Here the sun doesn't really happen all the time, or it happens like in the summer, but like I remember last year I was preparing for this show in the winter and I had to do a lot of sun prints, and I was like, oh, like there's no sun ever.
Snow prints.
Yeah, or the liquid would freeze because it was so cold. So there was like this totally different period of waiting that started occurring last fall. Like I would have to wait for the sun, or like there'd be like 10 minutes of it and I'd have to like rush out, which is strange. So like that constant was gone, but I think it made me like kind of reopen my eyes up to the environmental shifts here. So like the shifts of the season, which like there really aren't in LA.
Yeah.
And having grown up here, I didn't realize how much I like missed that. Not so much like process wise, but more just like paying attention to that aesthetically or something.
Yeah.
But then like, you know, I obviously have like this element of work in my artwork, like, you know, like the presence of tools and just working in the studio and whatnot. And coming back here where like it's such a kind of industrious town, or like not like a blue collar town. I don't really like that term, but like I don't know, there's just more of a focus on like manual labor here than there is in LA. So kind of exploring that terrain differently than in LA, where it felt like a lot of like rest happens or relaxation happens. So like I'm interested in all these different facets of work, like the combination of like the rest that happens with work and like what's counted as like work, like can rest be work, I don't know. And there was more of that in LA, and here it feels like more just like work.